going on, everyone? It's your boy DJ once again, bringing you Not So PC. Now, guys, a lot of things on my mind, just thinking about hypothetical things and things like that. And a thing that came to my mind today as far as cycle, ending the cycle. A lot of families out there, a lot of generations, a lot of, communities and things like that. There's a cycle transitioning that goes a long way. Whether it's an urban community, white community, black community, or whatever, is everything has a start, a middle, an end. Everything has a history. Everything comes from something. That's just inevitable. There's nothing you can control about that. But the one thing about history is, and there's an old saying that goes, if you don't learn from your history, you're bound to repeat it. I'm gonna say it again. If you don't learn from the history, you're bound to repeat it. So in other words, if you're not learning your lessons, if you're not learning from the past, you're bound to repeat it in the future. That's just how it goes. So with the cycle, family cycles, or whatever the case may be, just because parents, kids, or whatever, just because your mom had 4, 5, 6, whatever, how many kids by 4 or 5 different guys, doesn't mean you have to. Guys out there, just because your father had 4 or 5 different kids from 4 or 5 different women, doesn't mean you have to. Because whether you like it or not, especially if you can't take care of them, let's just be real, especially if you can't take care of them, something is gonna take care of them. That's just how it goes. Just look at the news or anything, that's how life works. So that's part of the cycle. Sometimes you have to be the one to say, you know what? I'm not liking where this is going. I've seen it. I've been through it. I want to try something else. I want to end the cycle. And honestly, sometimes that's a once in a generation kind of thing where that one person has that mentality. It's unfortunate, but sometimes that one person can have the mentality out of every or the whole generation. It is what it is. But sometimes you have to be willing to end the cycle. And as far as men out there having a lot of kids and things like that, look, just because, and I know it's hard ending the cycle. I understand, we all come from a different background. You can't control where you come from and things like that. I get that. But sometimes as people, we have to stop making excuses and start making reasons. I'm gonna say it again. Sometimes you gotta stop making excuses and start making reasons. Okay, stop making the excuse as far as this is why I'm here. This is why I'm dealing with this. This is why I'm dealing with that. Things like that. Start making a reason of why you're not doing this because you don't want to end up there. We always making excuses as far as generations or people or communities and things like that. This is that. This is the reason why this is going on. This is the reason why. Stop. We need to take control of our own lives. Stop making excuses and start making reason. This is the reason why I'm not dating this girl, because she got 4 kids by 4 different dudes. I'm sorry to say it, but it is what it is. You have to take control of your own choice. Okay? That's just how it is. Same thing with women. If you don't want to date the guy because he's messing around and things like that, you don't know what he's on and all this other stuff, you got to take control of your own life. Don't make the excuse of what's going on. Make the reasons like, hey, I'm not with this guy because he is who he is. That's my reason. Don't make an excuse of I'm with him. This is the reason why I have kids now because, this is the excuse. We got to take control of that. Because they're starting to get old. I'm sorry, they're starting to get old. And just overall, it's starting to get old. Okay? And as far as men, look, we're just gonna keep it real. Real men raise kids. They don't just make them. Real men raise kids. They don't just make them. Okay? Like I said, everybody comes from different backgrounds and things like that. But as far as if you're a guy and you've gone through in your lifetime, growing up without a father and things like that, don't repeat the cycle. That's where it comes to. If you dealt with that, Don't be that guy who was part of 4 or 5 different kids and you wouldn't get any attention or anything like that. But then you go on and have 4 or 5 different kids by 4 or 5 different women. Who's gonna stop the cycle? We have to take ownership of our own lives. And that goes for black, white, Hispanic, whatever. At the end of the day, who is willing to stop the cycle? Now, let's just put it to bed. There's some cycles out there that you want to keep, as far as a family business, real estate or whatever. Some cycles you want to keep. Some foundations you want to continue. You want to keep building and things like that. Some cycles you want to keep that. Some cycles are positive. It ain't always negative. But sometimes you got to do the percentage game. What's positive and what's negative? The examples that I gave you, you can pick and choose which one is that. Okay? If you having a difficulty choosing, then we need to talk more. Let's just put it like that. But overall, who's going to end the cycle? Who's going to end the cycle? Whether it's positive, negative, like I just said, positive, you want to keep that cycle, depends on how positive it is. Negative, who's going to end it? Because as history shows, and like I just explained, if you're bound to not change the history, you're bound to repeat it. It's just how it is.